Hi everybody, welcome back on another technical demo around the reactive application programming. In this demo, you're going to learn how to deploy your reactive messaging application with the Kafka cluster. There are two options for developer to run Kafka cluster. First one, you're going to run, or even you could install the Kafka cluster, or you can just use a Docker container to run your Kafka application. You can also use a Docker container to run the Kafka cluster as well as skipper post clustering. But also in this demo, we're going to more showcase how to manage the Kafka, which will reduce developer resources to local machine. But also you can just connect to manage the Kafka services like a SaaS services. In the end, developer don't need to set up the Kafka cluster, but it's really easy to connect to your backend application. One of the good benefits when you use to manage the Kafka services, because in production environment, you can also run your enterprise Java application to connect to the real production environment. We're going to use JBoss EAP XP extension pack, which allows you implement MicroProfile specification. The new JBoss EAP XP 4.0, we're going to just release that feature, which allows developer to have reactive application development, but also you can actually access to manage the Kafka services real quick. Let's get right into the demo how it works. So here's my local machine. I already installed JBoss EAP 7.4 with the latest patch 7.4.4. You're going to install JBoss EAP XP pack on latest JBoss 7.4. So I already installed the JBoss EAP XP4 on top of JBoss EAP 7.4.4. And then you could have several choices to stand up your standalone configuration. So in order to use a MicroProfile specification, I'm going to use the standard MicroProfile configuration with this XML is already generated inside the JBoss EAP XP. Okay, using the standalone bash script with the standalone MicroProfile XML, it takes just a few seconds startup because there's no application deployed yet. As you can see, you can find the EAP XP and EAP version. Here's the 7.4.4, the race to GA version. And then here's the EAP XP 4.0 with the cumulative patches already installed inside the JBoss EAP. Okay, now I'm going to go to admin console with JBoss EAP. Already created admin user like a Daniel O, and then the JBoss EAP admin. And then you can go to deployment. So there's no application deploy at this moment. We're going to deploy just in a minute. And when you go to the management and extension here, you can see I already installed and add subsystem and or you can say module for MicroProfile. Today we're going to use a reactive messaging small right extension, which allows me to access and connect to Kafka server from local and a remote manage the Kafka as well. Okay, so once again, just double check there's no application deployed at this moment. So here's my application. So today I'm going to use existing JBoss EAP quick start. So one of the quick start is Kafka quick start for reactive application with the MicroProfile. This is a POM XML. As you can see, there are JBoss EAP XP MicroProfile POM extension already included here. And there are a few more dependency, which is a Java Enterprise capability, just like a CDI API. And here is our MicroProfile reactive messaging API. We're going to use this dependency as well as you can find a Kafka client and a bunch of another. There are also a bunch of dependency to store your data with a persistent API. Let's take a look at that, our actual Java application. So here's the mock application. Is actually consume here the hello world reactive messaging with the Kafka, the stream data. So we're gonna keep sending this messaging into Kafka topic, and this application, mock application, will consume that messaging from Kafka topic in the end. Here's another RESTful API. We're gonna just print out the time entry when you access this RESTful API based on our Kafka communication. And then here's the message being actually how to consume messaging from Kafka topic as well as how to send the messaging to Kafka topic. More like Kafka implementation, let me just add annotation just like outgoing and incoming. It's really pretty easy to for developer. how to consume, how to produce the messaging with the Kafka topics. As you can see, there are incoming, outgoing annotation on top of the method, which allows me to send messaging and consume messaging from Kafka. And here's the MicroProfile configuration. So first of all, this is a local environment, so that's why I'm going to set it up bootstrap server, localhost 9092 default port. And then here's the incoming, outgoing configuration, the topic name testing, and then we're going to use more like Kafka capability. And then in order to sending messaging, we need to serialize the messaging itself. And then consuming the messaging, we're going to deserialize the messaging once again. Once again, the bootstrap server, we're going to set it up the local. We're going to run Docker container to stand up Zookeeper as well as a Kafka server in the end. I already mentioned earlier, I already edited MicroProfile extension on JBoss EAP on XP. As you can see, you can actually use this JBoss CLI to add MicroProfile extensions. So you just go to bin directory and then just run JBoss CLI and then connect to existing running JBoss EAP server, and then just run this command line, which allows you add the MicroProfile extension. In the end, you're going to actually reload the JBoss EAP server to make this available. Okay, I'm going to skip it because I already did. All right. So here's the Docker Compose file for my local environment, how to run the Zookeeper server and the Kafka server for the clustering. Just to make sure I'm going to use the default port to 9092. Here's I'm going to run your terminal window, use the Docker Compose command line, just Docker Compose up. It takes a few seconds, start up Zookeeper server and Kafka server. So as you can see, the Kafka server just started. And then just to make sure the using Docker command line, Docker PS, which showcase which container is actually running on my local machine. As you can see, there are Kafka server and Zookeeper server. So now I'm going to try to package this application and deploy it to running JBoss EAP using Maven command line. So Maven command line, in this project, I already edited by-the-fly profile, which allows me to packaging and deploy this application directly to running JBoss EAP using this command line, Maven clean install and by-the-fly deploy. It takes a few seconds because this is a very simple reactive application, but it depends on how much you have business logic in your project. Maybe sometimes it takes 1 minute. Okay, the packaging WAR file, and then this WAR file automatically deployed to JBoss EAP under deployment. You can see the MicroProfile reactive messaging Kafka, the capability already installed into our WAR file. So you can see the new WAR file just deployed. You know, when you go back to JBoss EAP runtime terminal, messaging automatically received from Kafka topic, like a hello world reactive messaging with the Kafka, and then it keeps sending the messaging string and consume in the same messaging string. So when you go back to JBoss EAP console, you can have the context root. You can see with the time entry and then the messaging consumed from Kafka topic. So here is a Red Hat OpenShift Apache Kafka services. It's a kind of SaaS service you can actually sign up for free. And then you're going to have some limited period to use the Kafka topic. You can create the Kafka instance and create the topic with the security authentication. And in the end, you can access this Kafka topic from your application from like a today demo in a local JBoss EAP. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to create a Kafka instance first. You can actually go to console.redhat.com after you sign in. Okay, so Kafka instance, I don't have any Kafka instance at this moment. The first step, I'm going to create a new Kafka instance. Let's say my Kafka instance name, it should be unique on your cluster. So Daniel OEAP XP Kafka, just say the name. I'm going to choose the cloud region. It typically takes some minute to create your Kafka instance on the cluster. And then once your Kafka instance is created, and you can go to connection, and then you can have a Bootstrap server, how to access, and then here's how to authentication, access the Kafka instance. Okay, in the meantime, let's try to stop my local environment. In order to that, I'm gonna undeploy my application because I'm gonna a little bit tweak my application to access, manage the Kafka in the end. So I'm gonna use the same Maven command line with the undeploy option, and it automatically undeploy my existing WAR file running on my JBoss EAP. As you can see, EAP show the logo, my WAR file just undeployed. And I'm gonna start my Docker compose just to make sure I'm not gonna try to access my local Kafka server. So using Docker compose stop, which allows me to stop existing running Kafka and Zookeeper server locally, and just stop it and just make sure the running process, there's nothing in there. Okay, pretty cool. So I'm gonna just comment existing configuration about Bootstrap server, localhost, and then here's a few more configuration to actually manage the Kafka-based SmallRide Kafka dependency and implementation. So first of all, Bootstrap server, we're gonna replace it with the real one, and then there are two different ways to access to manage the Kafka instance. For example, you can actually use the schedule, the simple authentication secure layer. Two different way. One is a plain text, just a username, password, and the other one is all auth bearer, which means you're gonna actually use the token endpoint. But today I'm gonna use showcase a little bit simpler way. So using plain, just a username, password, we can find that when you create the service account in the remote server. Okay, so go back to the manage the Kafka server, and you can see your Kafka instance is ready. And then when you click on the connection information, you can find the Bootstrap server. I'm going to just copy that and then go back to my IDE and I'll paste here Bootstrap server. And then I'm going to create a service account to access this Kafka instance with authentication and authorization. Okay, so let's say the service account name, Daniel XP Kafka SA. And then here's the client ID, which is a username here. I'm gonna replace my username and the client secret, which is replaced with my password. Okay, looks good. Then here's the token endpoint URL, just in case you're gonna use auth, which is more secure capability to access your Kafka instance. But we're gonna use the schedule and the plain way. So for the quick demo. Kafka instance, now we're going to create a new topics with the name testing because we set it up testing topic in my configuration, my application. I'm going to just leave all default variable, and then I just create a topic, and then here's the access menu, which is how to set and how to configure to access the Kafka topic. The default configuration you can see is just allowed to describe, but we need to actually add more permission like a read, write, the topic, and the consumer group as well. So let's try to do that. So first of all, we're going to add a permission, and then a resource type, which is a topic, and then the topic is I'm going to set it up only testing topic, and then arouse, and then just all, which means read write. We could actually little bit break down read only or read write only, something like that. Okay, looks good. And I'm gonna need to one more thing to manage the access with the account service account to access the consumer from topic, because we're gonna actually send consume message from this topic based on our security capability. Okay, so from topic is all the old topic. You can actually specify testing, or you can specify any topic name, or just asterisk for the demo. A little bit simpler. And I just save a file. It automatically create a new service account, how to manage your access capability for the topic. Okay, looks good. And then you cannot see the consumer group right away. So once your application actually consume message from Kafka topic, the consumer group ID will be automatically generated at that moment. So go to dashboard, you can see now one topic and one partition, and then no consumer group at this moment. And back to the application, just to look at all its thing. Okay, I just missed the double quotation. I just fix that. Okay, let's go back to terminal and redeploy this application using Maven command line. And a packaging application based on Word file, and then deploy it to running my local JBoss EAP. So now JBoss EAP detects the new application. As you can see, the consumer ID automatically generated and then joining the group. And then now you can see the messaging automatically consumed from Kafka topic, which is really simple. And we just have the same capability in my local machine with the Docker container. And then when you go back to console and the consumer group automatically create a new one. And as you can see, you can find the consumer group. So let's go back to JBoss EAP admin console, my local, and then just reload deployment, and which is the same name. And then I'm gonna just access RESTful API. You can see the new time entry just showed up. And when you reload the endpoint, and you can find more time entry log here, and with the different messaging. And then when you go back to JBoss EAP runtime logs, you can find the time entry putting out. Just like I reload my RESTful API page. Okay, let's give us a moment to keep sending and consuming the messaging from Kafka topic. As you can see, there are many messaging just sending to Kafka topic, and the application keep consuming the messaging local machine. So one of the great feature of the managed Kafka service on this web console, it actually provides statics on your dashboard. To go to dashboard and reload the dashboard, you can find the disk space and client connection and incoming messaging rate. So today we're gonna run how to connect and manage the Kafka service, which is the same technology and same topology in production in bottom, but you can still use that production in bottom on your local machine. A pretty easy way to just connect from JBoss EAP and XP 4.0 features. Thanks for watching. Have a good rest of the day.